we have started discussing transportation in plants. In plants, there are two parts: chlorophyll containing regions and soil contacting region. In between these two parts, the transportation takes place. Chlorophyll containing regions are the leaves that synthesize the food, and food is transported from chlorophyll containing regions to all parts of the plant. To all parts of the plant. Soil contacting regions are the roots. From the roots, water is transported in upward direction. Okay. From chlorophyll containing regions, food is transported to all parts of the plant. By which tissue? By phloem. From soil contacting regions in upward direction, water and water dissolved minerals are transported by xylem. In last class, I have explained about xylem transport. In class 9th, we have learned that there are 4 components in xylem. They are tracheids, vessels, xylem, parenchyma, and xylem fibers. Tracheids and vessels, they are the main conducting elements. Xylem parenchyma stores the food. And fibers, they provide mechanical support. So these are various functions of different xylem elements. Tracheids, vessels are conducting elements. Xylem parenchyma stores the food. Xylem fibers provide mechanical support. Hope you have written them. Xylem transport can be studied in 2 phases. One is absorption of water, another one is transport of water. Absorption of water. It occurs at the roots. Absorption of water occurs at the roots. How the water is absorbed? How the water is absorbed? Initially, ions, mineral ions, they are taken up by the root cells. are taken up, otherwise if you write up you will get confused. Taken into the root cells, into the root cells. By spending energy. So if some substance is taken into or sent out by spending energy, that type of transport is known as active transport. So mineral ions are taken into the root cells by spending energy. So you can write by active transport method. From where? Mineral ions are taken into the root cells from the surrounding soil. From the surrounding soil. So this is point 1. You need to understand in absorption of water. First point is mineral ions are taken into the root cells. This you need to remember. This is very crucial. If this particular process is not taking place, then water cannot be absorbed into the root cells. So from where they have taken? From surrounding soil. So from soil, mineral ions entered into the root cells. From soil. This is soil. This is root cells. So mineral ions entered into the root cells. Right? So inside the roots, ion concentration, mineral ion concentration increased. And outside the roots, that is in the soil, mineral ion concentration decreased. That means concentration difference of mineral ions has taken place between root cells and the surrounding soil. To eliminate this concentration difference, water diffuses into the root cells. Diffuses means passively, means now mineral ion concentration is less in soil, means automatically water concentration increased in proportion to the less ions. Whereas mineral ion concentration increased in the root cells means water concentration decreased in proportion to the mineral ions present in the soil, present in the roots. So here water concentration is less in proportion to the mineral ions. Here water concentration is more in proportion to the mineral ions. Why in proportion to the mineral ions water concentration is more here? Because whatever the mineral ions were there, they were already in the root cells now. So very less mineral ions are there, whereas water is same. So water concentration increased in proportion to the mineral ions in the soil. Here same water is there, but mineral ion concentration increased. So water concentration decreased in proportion to the mineral ion. Okay, mineral ion concentration. So now water is more here and water is less here. Water concentration is more, water concentration is less. So water will move from its higher concentration to its lower concentration. So water diffuses into the root cells from the surrounding soil. To eliminate the difference in the concentration of ions. Concentration of ions between the root cells and the surrounding soil. The surrounding soil water diffuses into water diffuses into the root cells from surrounding soil. Water diffuses into the root cells from the surrounding soil. So now water is absorbed into the root cells. The entered water in the root cells, it applies a pressure in upward directions at the root level. It applies a pressure in upward direction so that water starts moving up. Water starts moving up in upward manner. The upward pressure exerted by the water at the roots, the upward pressure exerted by the water at the roots is known as root pressure. So root pressure makes the water to move up in the xylem, tracheids and vessels. At the root level. But alone, root pressure cannot make the water to move to the higher heights in large plants or in tall plants. Then what makes the water to move up? So it is root pressure that is pushing the water upwards. Now, we all have heard of transpiration. What is transpiration? I can say it is transpiration. Pirate, robbery. Water is getting robbed from the plants. From the other environment, from outside environment of the plants, water is getting pirated from the plants. That's why trans means other. Transpiration. What is transpiration? According to the thing which I have told you, it is my sense of meaning. But as per your textbook, what is the definition of transpiration? Transpiration is the process of removal of water in the form of water vapor through the stomata of the leaves is known as transpiration. You take a drum, fill it with water. Put a pipe. Okay, so that water is supplied continuously here to this drum. Here, put another pipe. You suck the water out. Water will be keep continuously coming out. it won't stop. It won't stop. As long as the water is there below this tube level, the water will be continuously coming out. Initially only you need to suck the water out. Later the water will be keep continuously coming out. Same thing is applied by the transpiration. As water is sucked out by the other environment, by the environmental pressures, wind pressure, heat pressure, water is sucked out in the form of water vapor. If in the xylem vessels and tracheids continuous water column is there, then water will be keep continuously flowing in that continuous water column. So how this continuous water column is maintained? I already told you, the tracheids and vessels of roots, stem and leaves, they form a continuous water column, as the plant is at its small size itself. So this continuous water column is going to have the water present in it. As the transpiration is taking place, it will be applying a pulling pressure from upwards. Root pressure is a pushing pressure from downwards, whereas transpiration is a pulling pressure from upwards. So both the pushing pressure of root pressure and the pulling pressure of transpirational pull makes the water continuously get transported in upward direction from roots to the top regions of the plants. So transpirational pull, it makes the water to be pulled upwards. So both are operating, but in a day, two timings are there. In 24 hours of a day, two timings are there: night time and daytime. During the day hours, transpiration takes place actively. So transpirational pull is the major driving force for the transport of water in xylem. During the night time, the transpiration does not take place actively. Only wind pressure will be there, temperature will be very less. So transpiration takes place very less. So during the night time, transpirational pull cannot operate like in a daytime. So root pressure will be the major driving force of water transport in xylem during the night time. So both root pressure and transpirational pull operate the transportation of water through xylem, but major driving force during the daytime is transpirational pull, and major driving force during the night time is root pressure. However, continuous water column is maintained. Continuous water column is maintained by the continuous connection of tracheids and vessels of roots, stem and leaves. This is how transportation of water is taking place. But here transportation of water, it is occurring majorly by the physical forces. They are root pressure and transpirational pull. Let us learn about transportation of food materials. And in how many directions the transportation of water is taking place? Only in one direction, that is upward direction.
Shan Kumar is waiting in lobby.
Come again?
Sir, Shan Kumar is waiting in lobby.
Okay.
He said me to tell sir to admit.
Okay, I will admit. Yeah. Are you able to understand what I am just teaching you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now transportation of food. Through which tissue transportation of food takes place? Phloem. Phloem. Unlike xylem transport, phloem transport is bidirectional. Phloem transport is bidirectional. Okay. How it is bidirectional, that we will learn at the end of this topic. Okay, right. Phloem is having 4 components like xylem. What are they? Sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fibers. Phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Same thing, sieve tubes and companion cells are the main conducting elements. Parenchyma stores food. Fibers, they provide mechanical support. It is same. We have learned that xylem transport is majorly driven by the physical forces. Xylem transport is majorly driven by the physical forces. Here, transportation of food, it is not like that. During transportation of food, what happens? First, the food enters into the phloem sieve tubes. Phloem sieve tubes or sieve tubes of the phloem by active transport. Remember, food enters in which form? Food synthesized in glucose form. In the leaves. Food transported in sucrose form. Food is stored in starch form. In plants, food is synthesized in glucose form. Food is transported in sucrose form. Food is stored in starch form. So, food enters into the phloem sieve tubes. Which one is entering into the phloem sieve tubes? Sucrose. Sucrose enters into the sieve tubes. Okay. And interconversion of these molecules takes place as per the need in the plant cells. If it has to be stored, it will be stored as starch by getting converted from sucrose to starch or glucose to starch. If it has to be transported, it will be converted into sucrose, from starch to sucrose or from glucose to sucrose. If it has to be utilized, it will be converted into glucose, or if it is immediately synthesized to glucose, directly glucose will be getting utilized by the plant cells, right? If it is in the form of starch is broken down into glucose molecules, then it will be utilized. So here sucrose is entering into the sieve tubes, and we all know that xylem and phloem, they are arranged adjacently with each other. So one side xylem will be there, another side phloem will be there, right? As sucrose enters into phloem sieve tubes by active transport, here concentration difference. There is no water in phloem sieve tubes, whereas in xylem vessels water is there. So water will be entering into phloem sieve tubes. So where this water entered, at this point osmotic pressure increases. Higher osmotic pressure is created. Now this sucrose solution will move from the higher osmotic pressure area to lower osmotic pressure area. Okay. Once it reaches the target, once it reaches the targeted part, there sucrose has to leave the phloem. Sucrose has to leave the phloem and should enter in the cells of the plant body. So how the sucrose leaves? Entry of sucrose has taken place by active transport. Exit, that is leaving of sucrose from phloem CU tubes, also must take place by active transport. So remember here, the entry of sucrose and the exit of sucrose, entry of sucrose into the phloem CU tubes and exit of sucrose from the phloem CU tubes both occur by active transport, and the sucrose solution will move in the phloem CU tubes by osmotic pressure of the sucrose solution, that is from higher osmotic pressure area to lower osmotic pressure area. And after leaving the phloem CU tubes, if it is the root or if it is some other part of the stem, some amount of sucrose will be converted into glucose, some amount of sucrose will be converted into starch and gets stored. When the leaves are not there during the autumn, all leaves will get shed off, and because of the lower temperature, metabolism goes down and leaves get shed off during the autumn. And at the starting early spring, in the spring the temperature starts rising, so metabolism will be initiated and leaves will slowly start just generated on the branches or on the top of the plant body. During that time, young leaves cannot synthesize the food by photosynthesis. So for their metabolism to go on, the food has to be transported, food has to be supplied to them. So from where the food will be supplied? From the sink. From the sink. Sink means the area where it can be stored. Actual source of the food is leaves, but now source is not having the food. So the food has to be supplied to the source from the sink. So source, sink. So source are the leaves and sink is the roots. Sink is the roots. Earlier from source to sink food was supplied. Now from sink back to source the food will be supplied. How it will be supplied? Again, food enters from sink into the phloem CU tubes by active transport. Again, the food enters into the phloem CU tubes by active transport from sink. Okay, right. Then higher osmotic pressure is created because of the entry of water into the phloem CU tubes from the adjacent xylem vessels. Once the higher osmotic pressure is created, from higher osmotic pressure area to lower osmotic pressure area, food is transported. That means where lower osmotic pressure area, it is there at the leaves which are just started sprouting off. Okay, so to that area the food will be supplied, the sucrose solution will be supplied. This is how the food transportation occurs in the phloem CU tubes. The food transportation by the phloem CU tubes is known as translocation. The food transportation by phloem CU tubes is known as translocation. Food transportation by phloem is known as translocation. Okay, so with this the transportation of food and water in plants, it is completed. Now let us just see the questions related to the transportation part of the life process chapter. What are the components of transportation system in humans? What are the components of transportation system in humans? The components are pumping organ, network of tubes, and a system to to repair. These are the components of a human transportation system. What are the functions of these components? Pumping organ, that is heart. Heart pumps out the oxygenated blood to all body parts to supply oxygen, and heart pumps out the deoxygenated blood to the lungs in order to get oxygenated. And network of tubes, they carry the oxygenated blood from heart to all body parts, and they carry deoxygenated blood from heart to lungs, and deoxygenated blood from all body parts is carried back to the heart again by the network of tubes. Oxygenated blood is carried from lungs back to the heart by the network of tubes only. And system to repair, platelets, they help to plug the leaks. Okay, they help the process of clotting to plug the leaks. Why is it necessary to separate oxygenated blood from deoxygenated blood in mammals and birds? Separation of oxygenated blood from deoxygenated blood ensures the efficient supply of oxygen, which helps in generating good amount of energy that can be utilized to maintain a constant body temperature. Separation of oxygenated blood from deoxygenated blood ensures that efficient supply of oxygen will be taking place to all body parts, with which maximum amount of energy can be generated that can be utilized to maintain a constant body temperature along with the normal metabolic processes. What are the components of transportation system in highly organized plants? The components of a transportation system in highly organized plants are xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem. Xylem transports water and dissolved minerals in it, and phloem transports the soluble products of food. How are water and minerals transported in plants? Water and minerals are transported in plants by xylem. With the help of root pressure and transpirational pull. How is food transported in plants? Food transportation in plants is known as translocation. Food enters from the source, that is leaves, into the phloem sieve tubes by active transport in the form of sucrose. Then the water enters into the phloem sieve tubes from the adjacent xylem vessels, which creates sucrose solution, which is having higher osmotic pressure, and from the higher osmotic pressure area to lower osmotic pressure area, just the sucrose solution moves spontaneously, and upon reaching the targeted region of the plant, then sucrose leaves the phloem sieve tubes again by active transport, and there it will be getting utilized by getting converted into glucose, or it will be getting stored by getting converted into starch. This is how transportation of food takes place from source to sink. From sink to source, how the food will be transported? During the autumn season, the plants will leave, or the plants will shed off their leaves, with which the source area cannot synthesize the food. By the early spring, the leaves start generated. Okay, the young leaves will be start getting sprouted off or generated, so which need the food. So from sink, the food will be transported back to the source. Same process will be taking place. Only the thing is, at the sink, now sucrose enters into phloem sieve tubes by active transport, and from adjacent xylem vessels, water enters into the sieve tubes, with which sucrose solution is generated. This sucrose solution is having higher osmotic pressure. With the higher osmotic pressure, it can move to the lower osmotic pressure area, that is to the source point. And there, upon reaching the source, the sucrose leaves the phloem sieve tubes into the cells of source, okay, by active transport, right? Then it will be converted back into glucose and can get utilized. This is how transportation of food takes place in the plants. With this, the transportation is completed in both plants and human beings. Now let us start the next topic, excretion. What is excretion? Excretion. Excretion. Discarding of the metabolic products, metabolic waste products. Discarding of metabolic waste products. Metabolic waste products from the body. From the body is known as excretion. So we will discuss first in various other animals, followed by in humans, followed by in plants in the next class.